While DNA matches are generally considered to be as perfect a match as you could get, sloppy evidence collection can easily entangle innocent people in rather serious investigations. CODIS hit a milestone in 2021, with records now in the system. As of April 2021, CODIS was used in about 550,000 investigations, not something anyone would want to be innocently caught up in.
Do we know when the
Yeah, we must have done.
Yeah.
They, sounds like he's not quite as cooperative as you.
Okay. Any reason why? Probably worried you guys are gonna be like, Chandler did it. Okay. You know? I think that's everyone's fear.
Yeah.
Like, no one wants to be accused of killing their parents. I'm also, I think, just a very understanding person that will, look for the best in everything. Okay. But no.
Well, right now, because he's not being so cooperative or forthcoming, his parents are missing. It looks like they're going to take him into custody.
I'm serious?
Mm-hmm. I don't know what part of the right now it's just going to be because of the missing persons investigation and him lying to the detectives. Why he's lying, I mean, we're all wondering. You probably know him best. Why do you think he's not being truthful?
Just don't want to depend on him, I guess. Can I talk to him about things or no?
I think they've already locked him down. Why?
The enemies have got 10. What are you doing?
Super cooperative and trying to get your phone back. If it's not going to be done anytime soon, we can give you a ride somewhere, have someone pick you up.
Can I get a ride back to Chandler's? That's where my car is, and I'm supposed to meet his brother there.
That's going to be something else. I'm glad you said that. So they're probably going to want to leave. They're going to leave your car there.
No.
At the house because you were in it all weekend.
No, I'm sorry.
And
I have places to be. That's my car. Like,
the enemy have
if I'm being
frag
cooperative, why
back.
do you have to take my car? Because Chandler's not, and he was in your car. So there's chances there's DNA in there that
The enemies have 1 point.
to get. Don't worry, that.
Emotionally fatigued, and this fatigue could be what's making her push back against the detectives.
So there's no way I can talk to him at all.
Oh, enemies get your first kill.
downstairs.
Is that where the jail is?
Out of the area.
You're in the lead.
So, what exactly did detectives find that led to Chandler's sudden arrest? The answer isn't easy to stomach. The same afternoon that Chandler was being interrogated, police received groundbreaking information from none other than Kat's mother, Dolce, and her girlfriend, Cress. Dolce told police that she thought Chandler's behavior had been strange lately, and she'd actually begun to believe he was using some kind of narcotic. Oddly, an officer also described Chandler's pupils as looking like pinpoints. But this wasn't the only story she had to tell. On Monday, July 5th, Chandler visited the farm without Kat and asked Cress if he could use her pool, to which Cress consented. Both her and Dolce were present at the farm that day, and not long after Chandler walked away from the house and disappeared towards the pool, the couple resolved to go for a swim as well. The two hopped on Cress's tractor and made their way across the field towards the pool. However, as they rode along, they saw no sign of Chandler. What they did see through the open doors of the large barn was Chandler's car. The car was parked on the opposite side of the barn, near the wooded area of the farm. Once they got closer, they could see that the trunk was open, and Chandler wasn't anywhere in sight. After a minute, they simply continued on their way to the pool. 20 minutes later, while they were swimming, they both spotted Chandler walking along the edge of the woods near where his car was parked. He walked away from the tree line and directly towards them. Once they got into the policeman noticed that he seemed to splash his chest, arms, and face with the water, as if washing himself off. Then, after staring up into space for a few moments, Chandler left suddenly. Cress made a haunting comment to police, stating that she had recently noticed something strange. Vultures circling the woods on the property. Police inspected the woods near where Chandler Chandler had been seen, and it wasn't long before they made their first gut-churning discovery: a male human torso. The arms and head were completely missing, and the legs were cut off above the knee. This is disturbing. Chandler had described that his father wore those cheesy dad joke shirts, and the torso was found still wearing a t-shirt with a joke about sarcasm on it. Investigators also found several cutting tools, including scissors, a saw, bolt cutters, and a long blade, discarded in an empty oil drum by the barn. This was enough to charge Chandler with his father's murder. Interestingly, the medical examiner would later note that there were noticeable differences in the marks left by the tools used to dismember the torso, which could possibly indicate that more than one person made the marks. However, his mother, Krista, was still missing. She wouldn't remain missing for long. In fact, Kat would be the one to lead police to Krista about a week later.
Anything you want to tell us right away?
So, when we met yesterday, because I have been keeping up with the media, I haven't been watching any of the trials for my own mental health. And he was catching me up.
Now she's now cuddling with the stepmother, clearly in distress and seeking a comfort tool, even though it's an item typically considered childish. It also provides a bit of a barrier between herself and the detectives, tearing their world apart as they find out the truth.
When the Wisconsin River was mentioned, we were mulling over it. I was. And I recalled taking a screenshot of him near the Wisconsin River because we share Snapchat locations with each other. And he wasn't responding to me, he always snaps me. And so I just have it putting him there at July 3rd in the morning. It's Snapchat, I don't use that, but that's him by the Wisconsin River off of Gulf Road.
Okay.
And that's the 8:58 in the morning.
Sure.
And my phone always tells me what day it is, so it's July 3rd, 8:58 a.m.
Okay.
And I placed him there 4 minutes before, so 54.
Have you been to that spot? Do you know?
I don't know if it's that specific spot, but we used to swim on the Wisconsin River.
Okay.
And it's one of the spots we would just go to. And I've only been there maybe 3 times, but he's gone swimming there a couple times. Because when you use Snapchat, when you open up the Snap, update your location. If you don't open up the app, your location will update. And I was like, hey, where you at? Where you at? You're not responding to me on Snapchat. And we ended up calling, and he just said, he was in a dead zone. What are you doing out there?
Your team has 3
I
points
think
left.
over the phone, I was like, are you swimming? In the Wisconsin River after his fall?
Saying that they were fine and that they would be attending the Independence Day parade that day. The date that this text was sent, July 4th, was inconsistent with the fact that this big annual parade had actually taken place the day before, on July 3rd. When police tracked Krista's phone back to where it was when she sent that text, her phone was nowhere near the family cabin or anywhere in Langley County. In fact, Krista's phone showed itself to be located inside of her house. After this discovery, police later found Krista's phone in the garage, wrapped in tinfoil and stuffed inside of a hidden shoe. All signs pointed to Chandler having been the one to send that text message to himself. He was almost immediately hit with additional charges concerning the murder and dismemberment of his mother. There's no evidence to suggest that Kat was ever involved in or even aware of the murders of Bart and Krista Halderson, and she has since been cleared of all suspicion. Kat was just another victim of Chandler's convoluted web of lies, and she wasn't the only one. Quite frankly, everything Chandler had told everyone around him about his life was a complete lie. Chandler had been attending Madison College, but he had stopped attending classes over a year ago and never told anyone. He'd even pretended to be a Madison College administration member and communicated with his parents, both over email and over the phone. This was all to make it appear to his parents that he was still enrolled. There was never a job waiting for him at SpaceX. He'd never secured an apartment in Florida with plans to move himself and Kat there. He very likely faked the fall or caused the fall on purpose right before he was scheduled to leave for Florida in order to avoid facing that lie. He'd never been on a police scuba diving team, but what he'd certainly done was manage to convince everyone in his life that this was his reality. It's worthy to note that pathological lying and conning behavior such as this can be signs of psychopathy or antisocial personality disorder. It's also a fact that narcissists tend to be quite grandiose and tell stories about themselves that don't fit reality. To a narcissist, the idea of being normal or like others is intolerable. Naturally, these individuals will also act to protect their fantasy lives. However, going to the extreme of committing murder is atypical, but, of course, there are always exceptions. Unbeknownst to the people around him, Chandler's false life started long before this incident. Interviews with ex-associates and former partners of Chandler's revealed that he was a long-time compulsive liar and serial cheater. He told a lot of people different stories about where he worked, who he was, and about his relationship status. There's evidence that suggests that he'd had intimate contact with both men and women over the last year, with the latest tryst occurring just 2 months prior to his parents' disappearance. One of the girls that Chandler dated told the police that he claimed his mother once faked having a stroke to prevent him being able to leave the house and grounded him for an entire summer after he came home with a hickey. While she wasn't sure if he was lying about these outlandish claims, she was able to tell police that Chandler seemed to resent his father for not stepping up when his mother was overbearing with him and claimed that he never did anything on his behalf. In another instance, Chandler texted a friend about being caught cheating on a girlfriend, though it's unclear if he's talking about Kat. He told his friend that his girlfriend was going to call the other girl to confront her and find out what happened. Chandler then asks for his friend to answer the call instead and use a voice-changing app to make his voice sound female. Interestingly, there's evidence that Chandler was also caught by his parents using a voice changer to try to talk to them for his fake job. This was just one of the many instances where Chandler was caught in a lie. According to one of Chandler's ex-girlfriends, Dakota, he'd been seeing both her and Kat at the same time. Though he told Dakota that Kat was just a friend, they both confronted him. While Kat forgave him, Dakota did not.
One of my close friends gave his ex. We all thought he was this awful, horrible person. And then, I finally met him in person, and I was like, oh, people really like Star.
Still, she had some very interesting things to tell police. Like many others, she attested to Chandler talking about his mother being overbearing and over-involved in his life. Even more noteworthy, though, was that Dakota also said that Chandler claimed he'd been to a doctor and diagnosed as a psychopath, telling her, quote, "Makes sense now, doesn't it?" But Dakota wasn't the only one Chandler made this claim as well.
Your team has 3
friends and
that you're looking at, like when the first class statement. 18, spring of 2018. So I don't see that you were admitted in any program. You said they were, the IT degrees in there, right? No, those are just classes. You might have just took the classes but not be in the program. The internship from the spring show up in there? No. Okay, thank you for your help.
Bart told Chandler that they'd both be attending a meeting up at his school that was scheduled for July 1st, the same evening that Chandler had supposedly helped his parents pack up their things for their weekend getaway. When it was time to head off to their meeting the evening of the 1st, before he and Bart could walk outside to the car, Chandler killed him. He was killed by a gunshot wound to the head. It's fair to assume that after that, he waited for his mother to get home from work and killed her too. It's still unclear exactly how Krista died. Yet even after Chandler's arrest, the case took a strange turn. Given Kat's reaction during her interview, you may be surprised to know that following Chandler being charged, he and Kat stayed in contact. While in jail, Chandler used the jail messenger app to text Kat, and the two also spoke frequently on the phone. Their conversations reveal a different side of Kat than the one we saw during the interrogations. On September 9th, 2021, Chandler texted Kat saying, Good morning, wifey. Today is court, so I'm sorry if you have to hear about it. Kat responded, Good morning, hubby. I love you and everything's going to be okay. Just do your hair, glasses, and show people you don't look like a monster like how they're trying to say you are on the news. Remember to relax and don't be too intense. The two made plans to buy an espresso machine and save so they had money for when they both attended school, and shop for new clothes when Chandler got out of jail. Chandler was optimistic that not only would he be out of prison soon, but that he would be able to get a job quickly. He also messaged her saying that, I got you still, and that's all I need. In calls from prison, Chandler was able to speak with Kat and her mother on the phone.
Are you going to stay there until January?
I don't know about myself. I'm in a mental health spot, so they might put me in general population eventually.
But try not to stay there.
Oh, yeah, I will.
Enemy
It's
team
more
lead
safe.
to halfway.
For you, you know, I think if you go to the population, try to stay away from other people,
Yeah.
and sometimes it is better to say what happened. Like, if you don't say what are you doing, people thinking that you are there for something else, maybe. I don't want you to be hurt.
Well, don't worry about it. I'm all on the TV, so everyone knows I actually belong in jail.
Oh,
And no
okay.
one's going to be thinking I'm a snitch, so don't worry.
Oh, okay. Oh,
But if you know of Dane County Prison, anywhere that I would be housed, just given what they're thinking of me, like I'm a crazy person, I'm going to have my own room, and I won't really have to worry about other people. I appreciate you worrying about me and caring for me. I know, yeah, the news has made it sound very bad, but just talking to my lawyers and everything, it's much different. The news has putting a very bad spin on everything.
I know.
I don't know if you know that.
I don't know what happened, and I don't need everybody has their own reasons. Huh?
I definitely can't talk about the case over the phone.
Right. But I wanted to tell you that everybody has their own things.
In a text, Chandler tells Kat,
The enemies have
It's a
got
lot
10
to have to
win.
read what people say about me. Not super fun. But I understand people are angry and or sad, and it's super easy to blame at this point in the case. Kat tells him, Everyone is pointing fingers, and it's a lot easier to point at you instead of imagining what else could have happened. In another call, Chandler and Kat discuss his next court appearance.
I think they're delaying everything as much.
The enemy team has reached halfway. The enemies have got 10 to win. Enemy team is 3 out from victory.
Terrorists win.